Bill O'Reilly had Donald Trump on his show this evening, and there's something I kind of noticed about O'Reilly when he interviews Trump. When Donald Trump is starting to get himself in trouble, Bill O'Reilly starts talking, and Donald Trump pretty much stops. He doesn't really try to overtalk or continue whatever point he's making. And I don't know if Trump and O'Reilly got a deal that O'Reilly will start bailing him out when it looks like he's getting in trouble. But, you know, that's a possibility. Anyway, here's the Bill O'Reilly interview with Donald Trump.
Next segment tonight, let's bring in Donald Trump. Joins us now from Greenville, North Carolina, where he's campaigning. So first of all, let's talk about your campaign. You've said in the past that you expect to beat Hillary Clinton somewhat easily. Do you still feel that way?
I don't know if I said easily, but I hope to win, and I think we'll win. We're doing very well, as you probably know, and I think we're going to have we have a great campaign going. North Carolina now, Virginia before, Ohio yesterday. We had a tremendous crowd in Ohio. It was unbelievable, actually, and I think we're doing very well.
All right, so you're not going to say you're going to beat her easily, because you have said that in the past. But you say you're still going to win, on track to win. Now let's look at the CNN poll, which has you ahead by 1. It's divided along race and gender. For example, you beat Secretary Clinton with men, 54-32.
Before he continues, yeah, I saw that poll, and just so that you're aware, that poll was skewed. It was skewed towards Republicans and independents and away from Democrats. And that particular poll was not a poll of all voters. It was a poll of likely voters, which does differ from poll to poll, likely versus all.
Why do you think you beat her with men?
Well, maybe they like strong borders, and maybe they like strong military, but I think women do also. That's why I think I'm going to do very well with women. I noticed that we're doing very well with married women.
All right, let's stay on the men.
With married women.
We'll get to the women in a moment.
I think a lot has to do with the military. A lot has to do with the strength of the borders and not allowing the Syrians to come in who we just don't know where they're coming from, who they are. There's no documentation. It's a disaster. Hillary wants them to pour into our country, and I don't.
All right, so you think it's a national security play for men to favor you over Mrs. Clinton?
Well, I guess, but I think women want that just as much as men.
Well,
so,
let's get to the, all right, let's get to the
I think women want it as much as men.
Well, I don't know about that. CNN poll has women 53 Clinton, 38 Trump.
Well, you know, if you're asking me the question, I think we went way up with married women, and we're going very much higher with women than we were 2 months ago. I never really understood that, why we weren't doing well, because it's very much also, it's national security, it's jobs. I think jobs for men and for women. You know, I'm not sure there's such a big difference, to be honest with you, Bill.
But there is.
Just so that you know, Trump now is lower with women than he was 2 months ago.
Is in the poll. I mean, I don't know why. I think it has to do style over substance, maybe. But there's a huge difference. You dominate on men, dominate with men, and she dominates with American women. Let's get to the race. In white Americans, again, you dominate 55-34. You're up 21 with whites. Why?
I can't tell you, Bill. I mean, all I'm doing is talking about jobs and bringing back our jobs. I can't say why
you don't have any
necessarily
opinion on that?
No, I don't really. I really don't. I mean, I had a tremendous experience in Detroit and in Philadelphia this last week with African Americans in really inner cities, and we went to a church, an African American church, which was incredible. And you know, I think. You know, I would think that I'm doing very well with the African Americans.
Let's go to non-white. Now, non-white is, you know, all non-Caucasians. Clinton 72, Trump 18.
Well, I think maybe the 18 is a lot higher than it was 3 weeks ago. I think we've made a lot of progress. I mean, I actually saw one where it was 1, which I
But
didn't
that was just
understand at
African
all.
Americans. This is encompassing
right.
all non-whites in it. All right, but it,
Does the word racist ring a bell?
well, look, what I'm trying to get at,
I
and I'm
think,
sure
I
you
think it's
understand
highly
this.
underrated, Bill.
Okay.
I think it's highly
This is a
underrated.
polarized race. It's polarized along gender right now. This could change. I mean, I think the debates will change a lot of things, but it's polarized right now. It's gender, women like her, men like you, whites like you, non-whites like her. And, you know, if you don't have a theory on why, you know, you don't have a theory.
Like he hasn't heard that most minorities think he's a racist. But obviously he's not going to say that on Bill O'Reilly's show.
I don't have a theory about it.
Okay.
I'm about jobs, I'm about defense, I'm about borders, I'm about a lot of things. I'm about our vets, I'm about strong military. You know, whether you break it down into men or women or anybody else. I mean, I think people want to hear that, and I'm much better at it
Okay.
than she is. She'll be very weak on the border. She wants people to just to flow in terms of illegal immigration. People are going to flow into the country, and it's going to be a disaster.
Sure, but apparently non-white Americans
women like
don't
that.
mind that. I mean, that's the thing.
Well-
The factor is that there's some people want open borders, and Bernie Sanders and his crew let everybody in, everybody do what they want. You know what it, open society, George Soros, everybody comes in, you know their crew. Okay, now, electoral college. See, in my view, and I said this on my website today, it's a tie. When you might be ahead in the popular vote a little bit right now, which is pretty interesting comeback from where you were 4 weeks ago. But electoral college is tough. It's tough. You have very little margin for error. You got to knock off Ohio. You got to knock off Florida. You got to win North Carolina, where some polls you have you behind. You got to win either Michigan or Pennsylvania. That's tough. You don't have any margin for error, where she does have some margin.
Well, when you say you, you're talking about the Republican Party, because it's always been that way, or it's been that way for the last 20 years. And
No, Donald, he's talking about you and your ability to win the presidency. He's not talking about the Republican Party as a whole. He's talking about you.
there's truth to it, but I think we're doing very well in those states. I just left again. Ohio, we're doing well. We're leading in Ohio. We're leading in Florida. We're leading in
some
quite a few
polls you
states.
are,
So,
in
I
some
mean, we're
polls
going to
you
have
are.
to
You know
see.
how it
Yeah.
is.
Well,
But you don't
most
have,
polls
would you see tonight, you don't have a lot of margin for error. You got to take the key states that I mentioned. It's going to be tough for you in Virginia, but you don't need Virginia. That's not a have to
Well, I
have.
just left Virginia. I know, but I just left Virginia, and we're just about even in Virginia.
Well,
That's a lie. You're getting your ass kicked in Virginia. You're down by like at least 9 points, if not double digits. And you're down double digits in Colorado. So that was a straight up. There is no poll that says you're close in Virginia. That's why the Clinton campaign pulled all their advertising out of Virginia, because they believe they got it wrapped up.
Some
Well, you know,
people
McCullough-
were surprised. And I'm not surprised. I think, I see the crowds, I see the people, but we're pretty even in Virginia too.
All right. Would you see that you don't have much margin for error in the Electoral College, or no?
Well, when you say you, again, you're talking about the Republican Party.
Donald
That's
Trump.
a
No. It's you.
I know.
You.
Well, I'm just saying the Republican Party has a tougher road. There's no question about it. I've known that. It's been that way for a long number of years.
Yeah.
But I think we're doing well, and I think we're going to win.
All right. Now let's get to Detroit. I was going to do this in the second segment. We're going to carry Mr. Trump over, but let's go there now. Were you happy? I thought they were respectful to you when you did have the dialogue with the people in Detroit. But the reaction was, they ran out. They being the media ran out to find people to smash you, which they did.
Yeah, that wasn't hard, just to be honest with you. He had a fabulous time in front of a church that holds at least 1,000 people, and there weren't 500 people in the church. So the way that the camera angles were shot, you wouldn't know that. The comments that he gave to that pastor in their one-on-one basically was scripted. The speech that he gave was an excellent speech, but it was scrubbed by the RNC. And the people that were inside the church were there by invitation only. Invitation only. the church was not open to the general public. So yeah, Donald, based on that scenario, you should have had a great time, especially it being the first time in your life that you've been inside of an African American church.
What was your assessment of that whole situation?
I thought the reaction was amazing, and the church was amazing, the bishop was amazing. I thought the whole thing was really an incredible experience for me, and
What did you learn?
It was a tremendous
What did you
success.
learn by going there?
Well, I don't know, learn because I knew they were great people to start off with, but it just reinforced it. These are people of faith. These are people that are strong believers in God. They were absolutely so warm and so genuine, and I was very, very impressed.
Did you
This is
learn
a
anything
pretty rough
about-
section of Detroit.
All right, did you learn anything about why Detroit has collapsed? Why half the population has fled the area? Did you learn why?
Well, I think I know a lot of the reasons why, because our leadership has lost the jobs. I mean, a lot of these companies have moved to Mexico. They've moved out of Michigan generally. That's why I'm doing well in Michigan, because I've been talking about this for 5 years, not just for the last 3 weeks, like, Hillary, who doesn't have any clue as to why they're leaving. And I know how to get them back, and I know how to keep them from leaving. But if you look at Michigan, generally speaking, you look at the big auto plants that are being built in Mexico, and you look at what's happening with respect to Mexico is like the eighth wonder of the world, and Michigan is getting killed.
Yeah, they are.
And I will stop it.
Do you
They're getting
think,
killed.
last question on this.
All right. O'Reilly asked him twice what he learned. Now, if my memory serves, in his speech, he said that he was there to listen and to learn. Okay. So apparently, I guess he listened, but he still hasn't stated what he learned. And he's been asked that twice now.
You think your birther position has hurt you among African Americans?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even talk about it anymore, Bill,
No, I know.
because I just
But
don't
it's
bother
there, it's
talking
on the
about it.
record,
But I don't know. I guess with maybe some. I don't know why. I mean, I really don't know why. But I don't think very few people. You're the first one that's brought that up in a while. I don't think so. I mean, look, I went to Detroit. It was like a love fest. We had just a great time. I was there for a long time. Again, the bishop and his wife and the whole congregation, these are fantastic people.
All right.
He doesn't think his birther comments hurt him with African Americans. He is not living in reality. I believe that even the white supremacists would say that the birther comments were a big negative for him with the African American community. They would say, and he was right, but either way, they would agree that the birther comments hurt him with black people. And he says he doesn't know. You talk about being disingenuous.
Let's hold Mr. Trump over, and he's very kind to give us the time.
All right, so I'm going to jump to the second segment here, but come on. I mean, if he had at least shown a little honesty, he could have at least admitted, yeah. Ben Carson was on CNN earlier today, and he was asked that same question, and whether that Donald Trump should have apologized for the comments he made about President Obama being born in a foreign country, i.e. the birther comments. And Ben Carson quickly said, yeah, I think an apology would be a good idea, and quickly got away from it. Jesus.
Continuing now, Donald Trump was in Greenville, North Carolina tonight. Okay, in the talking points memo, which I know you did not hear because you were on the trail, I said that you are going to build, in my opinion, of course, you are going to build a wall if you're elected. I don't think there's any question you can do that. That you are going to come down hard on sanctuary cities and cut off federal funds. If you're elected, you'll do that. That criminal aliens who are here illegally, who commit crimes in the USA, you will immediately deport them. You're going to have some static in the court system because of due process, but certainly you'll authorize authorities to do that. Am I
Right.
accurate so far?
And we will pass Kate's law.
Oh, and case
In
law,
addition.
very important, and I know you've been behind that from the very beginning. The issue you are apparently modifying is what we talked about, and I told you very rudely, I was rude, that there's no way you're going to be able to deport 12 million law-abiding, peaceful illegal aliens in the system that we have. There's too much due process involved. You're not going to be able to get an immigration force of that kind to drag them out of their homes. So it looks like you're modifying that. Am I correct there?
I never talked about dragging people out of their homes, Bill. I never talked about that. Look, I mean, just so you understand, we're going to have a very strong border. People are going to come into our country, but they're going to come in legally. But we're going to have the wall. We're going to have a very, and by the way, Mexico's going to pay for the wall 100%. We're going to have a wall. Mexico's going to pay for the wall. We're going to have a strong border. The Border Patrol, 16,500 agents endorsed me because they understand. We're going to get rid of, first hour, I'm going to authorize, get rid of all of the drug lords and the gang members and all of the people that are here illegally that shouldn't be and committing tremendous crime.
Yeah, but there's due process there.
Unbelievable crime.
You can't just do an executive order. You're going to have to
Very
go
little
through
due
the...
process.
No,
Okay.
but there's some.
Well, I think there's very little. Okay, but I think there's very little. And the
Okay.
police, the local police know who all of them are, and we're going to get rid of. So we're going to stabilize our border. We're going to have a strong border. We're going to have a country again. And then what's going to happen is when it's all completed, the wall, all of this is completed.
There is a lot of due process unless you become King Trump. You cannot snap your fingers, issue an executive order, and have all of that carried out. There is due process even for undocumented criminal aliens. So let's just get that straight right off the top.
The people that haven't committed a crime, other than, of course, coming into the country illegally, which is, depending on your definition, those people, Bill, we're going to determine when we look at where the country is, how the border is, what's happening with our country, which will be down the road. We're going to make a determination at that time as to what to do with the rebus.
That's a modification of your original position, but that's fine. I mean,
Depending on how you want to view it.
Sure.
I don't know about that, but that's okay. If you want to say that, it's fine.
In my opinion, as a news analyst, you've modified your position a bit. But I'm saying to you that I believe the whole package that you put together in Arizona, all right, has now reignited your campaign, that you now have some momentum behind.
Well, and Hillary, just so you know, Bill, very important, Hillary has no package because she never talks about illegal immigration.
She wouldn't do anything
She wants
different than
everybody to
Obama.
pour into the country.
Right.
She wants the Syrians to pour into the country, 600% almost more than Obama has, and he's got thousands and thousands of people pouring in right
Okay.
now.
Obama has 10,000 Syrian refugees coming into the country. The UN has asked that we increase that number to 65,000. Hillary has gone on record as agreeing to the increase to 65,000. They love throwing out these percentages, okay? But life is about reality. And the reality is the number would increase from 10,000 to 65,000. If you get rid of the 4 million visa overstays and bring in the 65,000, you won't even notice it.
She has no, if you ask her, she's got absolutely zero to talk about on illegal immigration. Everybody can just pour into our country and take our jobs, and no matter how they are, good, bad, or indifferent, I mean, just pour into our country. That is a disaster for the United
Well, I
States.
hope I'll get
And she
I'll get
doesn't
a
want to
chance
talk
to
about
answer
it. And
that.
she got brought there. Bill, she got brought there by Bernie Sanders, super left. I mean, she got brought there by Bernie Sanders.
Okay.
But people are going to pour into the country under the Hillary non-existing plan. Nobody even knows what her plan is.
Now, Governor Pence says he's going to release his tax returns. Today, Hillary Clinton's whacking you again, and she does it almost every day, that you should release your tax returns. If Governor Pence does release his, is that going to put pressure on you to release yours?
Not at all. Nobody cares about it except some of the folks in the media. Nobody cares about it. But just so you know,
I care about it. There are a lot of people that care about it. Everybody that I know wants to see the damn tax returns because the number one thing we want to see is what does he pay in taxes, if he pays any taxes at all. Number two, we want to know about his charitable contributions because he's always saying that he gives a lot of money to charity. So we want to see. Number three, we want to know what kind of debt that he owes to Russia and China. Now, on the base form, your 1040 or your business tax, it's in the schedules and the backup documentation that you're able to dig all that information out. So when he says you can't tell anything from his tax returns, he's lying.
I'm under audit, a routine audit, and when the audit's complete, I'll release my returns. I don't know when that's going to be, but when the audit is complete, I'll release my returns. I have no problem with it. It doesn't matter.
But the legal
how does
people
she
say
talk
you
about
could
my
do
tax
it
returns?
now,
Because in the
despite
meantime,
the audit.
Bill, in the meantime, well, no, but nobody would recommend that. In the meantime, she has 33,000 emails that she deleted. When is she going to release her emails? She probably knows how to find it. Let her release her emails, and I'll release my tax returns immediately. Now, with this being said, I released almost
That is such bullshit. If the emails are deleted and they're gone, you're making a false argument. You know it's not possible. But back to the tax returns, why don't you release the ones that aren't under audit? No answer for that one.
100 pages of financials to the FEC, and they're detailed. There's a lot of information. The fact is, you get very little information from a tax return. But
Bullshit. You get a ton of information. And that's how people get caught as far as cheating on their taxes when you're comparing 1 year to the previous year. If there are any irregularities, you're able to pick them up in comparing the tax returns and the various items within the return. That's how they busted your ass on giving out a $25,000 campaign contribution to Pam, I guess her name is Pam Bundy. No, it's not Pam Bundy. The Attorney General down in Florida, where your return claims that you gave it to one party. The party that you gave it to showed no record of it. When they went in to dig it out, okay, they found that you lied and you had contributed $25,000 to a political PAC for the Attorney General from Florida. First name's Pam, I forget. I want to say Bondi, but I'm not 100% sure about the last name. But anyway, you could get a tremendous amount of information from looking at a tax return if you know what you're doing.
Okay, but when the audit's complete, then you'll release it. That's what we learned.
yes,
Okay.
sure.
Hey,
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on. As I said, we're still working for Mrs. Clinton to come on, Secretary Clinton. What do you think? You think she's going to come up against me?
I have no idea, Bill. Nobody can figure it out. She goes out for a day or two, and then she goes away for 5 days, and nobody hears from her. So I have no idea what she's doing.
Would you watch that interview if Mrs. Clinton came on the factor? Would you watch it?
I may. I'm not so sure. I might have to turn to another network.
All right, Donald.
One thing about Clinton, she was letting you hang yourself while she was out there raising money that she's going to spend between now and obviously November. And you guys have been slow to start your campaign fundraising. You're starting to do it now, but you're way behind the 8 ball. Anyway, that was Bill O'Reilly's softball interview with Donald Trump.